Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to day 7 of the advent of cyber. So, today we are covering basically the document we found in the previous email. We're going to now analyze the malware on it. So, malware analysis. First off, thank you guys so much for the support. We've reached 2K way before I thought we would. I'm super excited. I'm super thankful. Make sure you guys hit that sub button. It doesn't take anything, it's free, whatever. Just click it for me. It helps out a ton. And like the video if you can, it helps out tremendously. So let's go ahead and dive into it. This one, I like this one a lot because it teaches you a lot. But the other thing with this one is the walkthrough is kind of built in, and you'll see what I'm saying. So we're gonna go ahead. We're just gonna go through it and do it, and I'm gonna explain it as we go rather than walk through and then do it and then go back and get the answers. So we already started the machine. On this machine, you have, and you can see this machine is very slow. This is their VM. So you can see we have on here, you open up Firefox and CyberChef is right here. And then you have the Division of Labor Load Share Plan document. So this is the document that we got from the previous email. So if you guys remember, we found this document. We loaded it into, we went ahead and loaded it into CyberChef here. So there's no recipes. If you guys have never used CyberChef, what it does is it allows you to take all data in all sorts of formats and decode it, encode it, do whatever you want with it, and basically figure out what's really going on with it. So we're going to go ahead and it takes it. It's loaded up. Here's the output. This is what it looks like byte by byte, right? Okay, so now we need to change that. We need that to go away. So first thing first, we need to extract strings. Now, why do you do this? You're trying to figure out what is human readable in there. You don't want to just say, there we go, strings. And you can see how slow this is going, so bear with me. So we need to extract strings, okay? So here's all the strings. Now, some of these are useless because, you know, W exclamation point ALF doesn't mean anything to us, right? So what we want to do is we want to put this minimum and we want to bump it up until we find strings that mean something. Now, this may not make sense to you because you might say, why would we go all the way up to 258, which is what they show in the picture? So that's what I started at. Why would we go all the way to 258? That doesn't make sense because now we're getting all these characters. But look, the document is encoded in a way, you can see here, it says CMD command, CMD command, CMD command, CMD command, CMS, da, da, da. So you can see it's running the command prompt. Okay. But you can see they put all these other characters in here, and this is very common with malware. They put all these other characters in here because they don't want you to read that. They don't want, because it's not very hard to create a tool that looks for anything opening up command prompt in a document and gets rid of it, right? So they're putting these extra characters in to obfuscate the data. So that's what we're looking to try and get rid of. So we've got all the human readable characters here. We want them at a minimum of 258 because we want the entire string that they put together. We don't want just the fluff that was at the beginning. Now, to remove patterns, so we're going to find and replace. So if you've never used regex, this is pretty much what we're doing here for the find and replace. We're saying, we're saying we want to get the backslashes out because if you remember, if you look here, first let's do this. Let's go back and look to show you. So you can see we have the brackets here. We want those brackets gone. We have the underscore. We want the underscore gone. And then you can see we have the backslashes as well. And we want to get rid of all this stuff that's going to just basically be in our way. So we go ahead. If I can freaking type. It's hard because it's so delayed that when I push it, I can't tell if I hit the right button. So then underscore, then new line. All right. So what we're going to do, let that go. And we're not replacing it with anything. We're just basically getting rid of it is what we're doing. So now you can see we have command, 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 C, message, username, V, word experienced an error trying to open the file. Okay, so they're giving us something here. And then you can see this is all encoded. It looks base 64. So let's go ahead and scroll down. Okay, so now we want to drop bytes. Now, why do we want to drop bytes? We want to drop the beginning of the message because we just want the base 64 encoded. We don't want anything else because we want to see what it's doing. We understand that there's other message in there, and we could go through that later, but we want to see what's going on here. So we're going to look for drop bytes. And I've typed it. Let's see if it ever pops up. Okay, didn't pop up. Okay, so drop bytes. And you can see it's just going to drop a few at the beginning. So it drops 5. Now, they already did the math for us. You could just go and count all those. But they did the math for us, if I could find it. And it's 124 is how many bytes are in the beginning. And you can see now we just have the base 64 encoded message. So, okay, so we're just breaking it down. We're just trying to get the information that's important to us. Theoretically, you could do this a totally different way if you wanted to. You could just take the whole document, and instead of getting rid of all this stuff, doing all this, you could have just base 64 decoded this and looked for this. But it would have taken you a lot longer, right? It would have taken much longer. So now we're going to go from base 64. That's 2. We went from base 64. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look. Why did we get that? We got a lot of P's here. All right, let's go ahead and get rid of that one just in case. All right, so we'll say from base 64. Oh, that's why. You can see we're off. So we actually have a different set than they do. All right, let's make sure we follow the steps right. I must have missed one. Okay, so we've got we'll go ahead and get rid of that. So we'll just move it over there, get rid of it. The drop bytes. Let's go ahead and pause that so we can see what we're doing here, what we're working with. Okay, so we have the command, blah, blah, blah. Oh, interesting. You notice we don't have the PowerShell right here. That's very interesting. Okay. That's why. So you notice I made a mistake. I left this at alphanumerical. It needs to be at all printable. So because of that, I was missing the PowerShell. Make sure you do that. Make sure you check that out because alphanumerical is not the same as all printable characters. So, boom. So now we can go and play that. Now we have the full base 64 encoded. So hopefully you guys see the mistake I made so you don't make the same mistake. And then apparently I typed base from base. All right. From base 64. And that's one thing to keep in mind with when you do things like this is it's fully anticipated that you're going to make mistakes, and it's fully anticipated that this should take a while. You should be going through it. You should be trying things. You should be testing it. Now, like the base 64 encoding, if you've worked enough with base 64 encoding, you saw it and you said, oh, that's base 64 encoding, and you moved on because it's all now. Theoretically, yeah, it could be base 32, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But you can see as soon as we put base 64, you have set, variable, and then there you go. The fact that we're getting human readable lines shows us right there that that's the correct encoding. So let's go ahead and scroll down. Where were we? So now we decoded base 64. So now we need to decode it from UTF-16LE, and you can see that they've pretty much saved us the legwork here of trying to figure this out. Unicode UTF. All right, it's not gonna. There we go. UTF. This takes I hate how long it takes. I hate when I say I hate how long it takes. I mean I hate that yeah, that's not it. Get through. I hate that I can't everything I'm doing is taking so long to just type and everything else is driving me nuts. Okay, so we want back out of here. Okay. We want UTF. So we want decode text. Get out of there. UTF 16LE. Come on. There we go. Okay. Finally, we got somewhere. So you can see we have set, variable, type, set, item. So we're starting to see a script form. That's good. That means we're starting to see some actual things that are happening. So now we need to go through. All right. And we need to actually find and remove common patterns. So there's certain patterns we're looking for here. And when I say we're looking for them, we're not necessarily looking for them, but we notice that there's a lot of them. So I'll show you what I mean here. This might be the slowest box. Come on. Okay, find and replace. I think TryHackMe's been having some issues the last couple of days, so hopefully they get that cleaned up. All right, find and replace. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go through, and again, we're not actually going to replace them with anything. We're just keeping them, or just getting rid of them. So we want the commas gone. We want the brackets gone, or the parentheses. We want the plus sign, the parentheses, and then the tilde, and boom. Now, the reason we want these gone is because you can see those were just mucking up the waters. There was a bunch of them around. There was, everything was there in quotations and parentheses and everything else. It was all there, but it was all mucking up the water. So theoretically, do you have to do this? No, because you could have read it. It just would have been a pain in the butt to read without that, right? So that's what they're trying to make this, is just more readable. Now, one thing we notice here, if you look at pretty much every website, so you can see flag, mystery flag, golden ticket, secret Santa, www, but instead of starting at HTTPS, it starts at this, B2H, B2H, B2H. So that tells me that that's probably supposed to be HTTPS or HTTP instead of BTH. So we're going to go ahead and find and replace again. Come on. All right. So this one we're actually going to replace with something. We're not just going to find it. So we want to say basically anything, and you can see they have it right here. Anything with the bracket B2H, and I typed it and it didn't do anything. There we go. Okay. B2H, we want to replace that with HTTP. Now when we look at it, you see that now these are HTTPS, right? So let's go ahead and look, and you can see that we actually have, in ours, we actually have an underscore here, which tells me we probably didn't take one out somewhere. Oh, nope, I didn't add it here. That's why. There we go. So, boom. So we got rid of the underscore. Okay, now we need to extract the URLs. So this is where we only want the URLs. We don't want anything else. And this will kind of get rid of all the junk for us. Now, this is only, keep in mind, if you're analyzing the malware, you're just trying to see right now, what we're trying to do is just see where it's reaching out. What websites are built or mentioned in this script that we can logically assume that the script is reaching out to. Now, split URLs with @ so you can see all the @ signs split the URLs. So all we got to do is go to split. And when I say that, what I'm saying is every URL ends with an @ sign. So, whoops. So it's pretty safe to assume that that's the end of one, the beginning of the next. Now, you don't have to do this, okay? Keep that in mind. This is where I'm saying you could logically assume that you could figure out these URLs without having to actually do this split, but you'll see it kind of makes more sense. It gets a little easier here. Okay, split. It just takes forever. Split. So now the split delimiter, instead of a comma, we're going to do the @ sign, and we want it on a new line. So you can see now we have the 4 right there, pretty easy. Now, the last thing you're going to do is defang them. Now, I'll show you why you defang them and explain it. So defanging a URL, what it's going to do is you see that these are built like this, but what we're going to do is put them here, and you can see it changes them all like that. Now, the reason it does that is so that you can't accidentally click them. You can't accidentally put them in the browser. If you send them to people, they don't, in an email or something to say, hey, look, these are the ones we found, they don't accidentally click them. It's a way to prevent anyone from going to those sites because they're malicious. So we took that giant document, we broke it down slowly. We looked for different delimiters. We found what we need to split, what we need to take out, what we need to go through. And now we've come up with 4 sites that they reached out to. and or accessed. Oh, and now we can answer the questions. So, what's the version of CyberChef found? Well, this one's easy. When you open up CyberChef, it shows it right there, version 9.49.0. 9.49.0. Now, how many recipes were used to extract the URLs? You can just count the ones you did. There's 10. We found a URL that was downloading a suspicious file. What's the name of that malware? Now, you can see they're saying they found a URL that is downloading suspicious file, and mysterygift.exe. That's the only executable file that was downloaded here. So there you go, mysterygift.exe. What is the last defanged URL? Now, this one, they're just trying to make sure that you actually defanged it and that you understand it rather than you just found the site. Now, was the ticket found in one of the domains? This one's pretty easy. THM golden ticket, THM mystery flag. So there's the golden ticket, THM mystery flag. It's that easy, guys. Now, when you're doing this in real life, obviously you're going to take longer. You're not going to know exactly how many characters to take out. That's where you have malware analysts that are very good at going through and breaking it down and doing that. That is the goal of malware analysis, is to trial, error, figure it out. It's a puzzle. You've got to find out what's in it, right? You got to put the pieces together. And that's exactly what we did with CyberChef. And this is why I always recommend CyberChef for decoding or anything like that, because a lot of people always say, well, you can just go over here and it does it real fast, whatever. That's great, but I recommend CyberChef because it has all my needs in one box, okay? Now, obviously, sometimes it may not work for you, but keep in mind, it's a great, great tool. Hopefully this helps you guys understand what we're doing here when we're doing this analysis, because as you can see, we're still going down the storyline. We got the email. This was the attachment. We broke it down. We took a look, and now we're starting to figure out that they've reached out and download this mysterygift.exe possibly. So that might be our next step to analyze the mysterygift.exe, hopefully. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you hit that comment button, hit that subscribe button, check out the Discord, and also check out the Patreon, guys. I really appreciate it. This month is going to be a lot of fun, and then we're going to go back to our regular content. So thank you guys. Have a great day.